Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after the Arcitys versus FaZe drama was kind of calmed down over the last week or so, that does not mean there's more spicy rivalries between Los Angeles Guerrillas and the Atlanta FaZe. It does indeed seem like LAG were intending to get rid of SlasheR and drop him from the roster after this season, bringing in a new main AR, which turned out to be Arcitys. And of course, SlasheR now goes to FaZe. Huke has revealed that the matchup next season between him and SlasheR is certainly going to be rather spicy. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one plenty. As always to discuss today, the cutscenes at it again. Firstly, this from Noobs and others who are going to be going out to some event, wherever it is, to do the Call of Duty Next event on September the 15th, which I'm guessing is to play the new game to some extent. So interesting stuff for sure. I think a lot of Warzone guys invited to this. Some have not been able to go though, because the guys I've seen invited to this are generally Warzone guys. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, because I haven't seen tweets from many COD pros, if any at all, about flying out to this. So I guess maybe it's like a Warzone 2 thing or whatever exactly it is. Like Center obviously didn't get invited right here, so he was kind of frustrated about that one. But I mean, yeah, obviously we're going to get some new play testing coming soon. We've heard some talking points about exactly what the movement looks like for this coming game, like whether the slide cancel is going to be there in the same form that it was before, whether there's going to be movement that Cellium and Shotzzy will be able to find out how to exploit within a few days. We know that technically it has a slide and a dolphin dive or something. We don't know how cracked the movement's going to be, but I think some people are hoping it's going to go back to a more traditional movement style, kind of what we had maybe in World War II or even earlier than that, right? I mean, Ghosts I thought was great. The sliding Ghost was used purely to evade gunfights. Like, you never used a slide in an actual gunfight itself. Like, there was no, there's no viability for that. You used it to slide into a blitz portal, or used it to slide around a corner to get away from a fight. Like, I thought that was quite a nice way to use it. And I don't want to talk about the realism of Call of Duty, but I did kind of like it when the slide wasn't a necessary movement mechanic for every single gunfight you get into. And also, I'm sure a lot of the pros would rather be happy if their hands can take less of a beating by, double tack, sprint, sliding all the time, slide cancelling, like obviously many actions per minute, as Scump has described in the past. This also to say on Parasite, he's back on Twitter, he's ready to go. He's kind of maybe admitting now that he's not going to get a spot in the CDL as a coach of a team. Now, I still don't think this is necessarily guaranteed. I guess he's held talks with some teams and they've decided as well so far to move in a different direction. But yeah, he reckons he's going to maybe go in the challenger side or even the CCL side, which might be wise in fairness, because like at the end of the day, Parasite's a former player, former world champion from 2013. Like obviously got a great mind for the game, but it's not like he really has any coaching experience, right? I think a lot of these top organizations will be like, well, should we just hire Parasite? Okay, yeah, good minds, like legendary player, but we really don't know how he's going to behave as a coach on other teams. Does he have a resume of being a coach, right? Like, these are things that these organizations nowadays will be considering quite highly, because I think that Parasite, if he was to become a coach back in Modern Warfare, he would get a coaching spot, no problem at all. But I think over time, the kind of philosophy of some of these organizations is changing to be like, well, actually, there are more established coaches now, and there are coaches that were never pro players, and they can do a better job, arguably, than some of the guys that were pro players in the past, because they understand personalities better and this type of stuff. So I think that's the difficulty for Parasite, that he's probably going to have to do at least a year or like maybe 6 months or something in challenges to try and prove that he can have good results with the challengers team as a coach, and then try and show that on his resume to get a spot in the pro side. And others are doing a similar thing, like Apox, I believe, who was helping to some degree with the Paris Legion, even though I'm not even sure he was getting paid, to be honest, last season. It's kind of crazy stuff with that org. But I mean, yeah, he's doing videos right here actually on like how squad spawns work and stuff like this, so trying to build a bit of a portfolio so that he can show to organizations like, hey, look, I understand that this game works at a very high level and stuff like this. So I think that Parasite's got to maybe take some notes. I think Parasite would be a great coach, but I think these organizations are going to be like, well, you've got to prove it first before we actually give you a salary to be a coach for an organization that, of course, wants to come out on top and win absolutely everything. This also for OpTic hitch. The off-season is getting underway, October 15th, 16th. About a month away, there's going to be a retro-themed charity event focusing on raising money for suicide awareness and prevention. So fantastic cause, awesome to see. And this is what is going on. So, I mean, yeah, I'll just, I guess, share the video for you guys here. The Team Summertime vibes. I'm imagining there's going to be some Black Ops 2 action and some old school Call of Duty game action. Right, yeah, Black Ops 2 Invitational, $25,000 Black Ops 2 Invitationals. That's always just absolutely cracking stuff. And there's other, like, retro game speedruns and stuff. FIFA 2006 show match. So, what a game that was. So, I mean, yeah, just great stuff. They're going to host this about a month or so's time. We've got Scump there, Big T's there, Carver's there, Embos is there, all the good stuff. And of course, the TST boys themselves. This sounds really cool, honestly. October 15th, 16th. Hopefully, a lot of pros get out and involved with this one. $25,000 25k Black Ops 2 Invitational. Like, I mean, yeah, that's going to be an absolute banger. So great stuff from Hitch organizing this, and hopefully that will be absolutely fantastic. Let's dive into this Los Angeles Guerrillas stuff then, because I thought this is pretty funny. The Flank tweeted out yesterday, biggest Mickey Mouse tourney win last season. LAG's is certainly up there, right, at the very least. But look, Los Angeles Guerrillas last year, the end of the season, they had a strange roster: SlasheR, Huke, Neptune, and Spart. Big surprise to me, to be honest, because I thought going into the season they would potentially build around SlasheR, or I thought maybe that was the player that they would target, or build around SlasheR and Huke or something. Instead, they decided to build around Huke, Spart, and Neptune, and that was their team of 3. And I'm guessing they didn't want to keep the same 4, so I'm pretty sure SlasheR was going to be the one getting dropped, right? And it was relatively clear by his social media that went completely blackout mode, and he said nothing for about 2 months, to be honest. It was maybe pretty clear that he was going to be gone. Of course, as it turned out, he managed to get dropped into a massive upgrade, theoretically, and go to join Atlanta FaZe, right? So will this prove to be a big mistake by Los Angeles Guerrillas? Because I do think, of course, like, look, SlasheR would have left anyway to go to FaZe, even if they wanted to keep that roster of 4, but I'm pretty sure the intention was to drop SlasheR, get another main in, whoever that might have been. Of course, as it worked out, they got Arcitys, which is pretty much ideal for what they would have wanted anyway, and SlasheR goes the other way. Now, SlasheR, I'm sure, is thinking, look, you guys made a bit of a mistake, even though, like, given the FaZe offer would have been there regardless, like, SlasheR would have left LAG anyway to go to FaZe, even if they still wanted to team with him over there. But still, I'm sure there's a little bit of thinking from SlasheR's side, okay, look, you guys, I was the big search and destroy star of this player last season. I was the one who made a crucial impact in the leadership that we won that major too, and then still they want to drop you at the end of the year. Like, come on, lads, I played pretty well this year. Maybe what's going through SlasheR's head. I thought this is pretty funny from Sparkling that actually. Bro definitely thinking about how he picked up Arcitys this offseason. Good moves for sure. So yeah, I honestly think that this trade can potentially upgrade both teams. Of course, look, who knows how it goes, but Arcitys definitely has his benefits to this Los Angeles Guerrillas squad, and maybe can get better performances out of those players than has been possible last season by SlasheR, for example. But yeah, of course, we saw the drama between Arcitys and Simp, aBeZy and co, and all the talking points, especially aBeZy and Arcitys, right, when, Arcitys said, yeah, look, these guys are trying to just go behind my back and say this to my family, not saying it to me, and then aBeZy's like, look, Arcitys are trying to paint us as bad people. That's not really the case, of course, well, setting up a very spicy rivalry that way around between the FaZe trio and Arcitys next season. But the same thing exists to some degree with Huke and SlasheR, right? Huke, Neptune, Spart, that trio deciding to get rid of SlasheR, and then of course he goes to FaZe next season, and then all of a sudden we've got that rivalry the other way around. So Huke was giving some insights into that actually in a video that Los Angeles Guerrillas just came out with last night, when he was saying like, yeah, look, I'm looking forward to playing everyone in the league. I'm excited for Arcitys to join. He's going to bring XYZ to the roster, saying that he thinks Arcitys can be the perfect leader for them, and maybe he feels like SlasheR didn't necessarily provide everything that they wanted from that role, but also saying like, look, things next season are going to be exciting. He's looking forward to playing everyone, but especially that FaZe matchup next season, he reckons is going to be especially spicy.
I feel like the amount of time that we did get to team with each other, we flowed really well together. We get along, and on top of that, we're incredibly passionate about what we do. So in my eyes, it's a no-brainer. There isn't anyone else I would rather want to team with in this moment. I have a lot of faith in us. Well, he's obviously very successful, and I think he really understands what it takes, and the team aspect of that, being a unit. On top of that, man, it's aLLeY. I think he's just that glue player for the past few years on every single team he's been on, and yeah, I'm excited to have him here to help us thrive as well. I've been competing for a long time as well, but having someone like him, it almost brings the same feeling I had whenever I had Kerm on my team, where he's won a lot, and it's almost like it gives me that extra fire to be my best personally. Of course, I want to do it for myself too, but just having him on the team is kind of like that extra drive to be at 150% next year for him as well. Help him be even more successful than he already is. So
yeah, and for me, I'm just really excited to play with RCs because I feel like his vibes are gonna be like crazy. I mean, he's one of the GOATs. He's one of the best Mutineers in the game. I'm just excited to have him be watching over me as a sub player.
Are you excited to go against your former Mutineer SlasheR in the rivalry match against FaZe? I'm excited for the whole year. That's just me. I don't really, of course there's a lot of talent, but I don't really care who I play. It don't matter. I'm just excited to get out there and compete.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to play against them. It's going to be definitely a good rivalry match against FaZe because SlasheR was on our team and RC just left FaZe, or he got dropped technically. I'm just super excited to play against every team in the CDL, to be honest.
I will say though, it is spicy though. It's going to be some good matches. Spicy stuff for sure.
And maybe he knows it's going to be especially spicy because, he knows what SlasheR's like. He knows that if the team did decide to get rid of him, as it seems like they did, because they were going to look for another AR anyway, like they obviously weren't going to keep their starting roster of 4, and they were deciding to keep Huke, Neptune, and Spart, so I highly doubt that SlasheR was going to stay there anyway. So, he knows full well, more than likely, Huke, that SlasheR's going to hold a little bit of a grudge for that regardless, and is going to want to get their own back next season. But the thing is, these guys go way back, right? I'm sure SlasheR and Huke still have an awful lot of respect for each other. Even I found this tweet out from 2018, when Clay's asking about the top 10 flashiest players of all time, and he's going for, Dashy, Royalty, even like Nagafen, right? I thought it was interesting, like certainly Nagafen, Advanced Warfare, and even as SlasheR says, AW, Huke has got to easily be on there, right? Because these guys were teaming back in the day in Advanced Warfare, even of course into World War II they teamed as well. You guys can see right here, this run that they had from Advanced Warfare, SlasheR and Huke together into World War II, and Envy didn't have quite so much success, of course, after the few years out that Huke had, because he wasn't old enough to compete when the CWL started. So these guys have a good history together. I'm sure there's still some respect between the pair of them, but of course, they'll want to beat each other at the end of the day, and SlasheR now gets effectively the keys to the Infinity Gauntlet to try and do exactly that. And of course, we've seen in the most recent season, right? I mean, Los Angeles Guerrillas, SlasheR and Huke team up again, and once again, it doesn't really work out. They win an event together, which is obviously pretty cool, but outside of that, the results weren't really it, and therefore they've decided to build around Huke, Spart, and Neptune at the end of the season, despite placing top 8 at Major 4 and failing to make the World Championship. They're going to build around those 3. Is that a good decision? Who knows? They're obviously very eager to play with each other, and maybe Arcitys can bring more out of those 3 than SlasheR was able to, but at the end of the day, if this is a bit of a rivalry, right, a bit of a, spicy matchup between the Arcitys and the FaZe guys, and also SlasheR and the Los Angeles Guerrillas guys decided to potentially get rid of him, it might be a rather one-sided rivalry, because going into next year, I think the expectation is that FaZe realistically have to be at the very least a top 2 team in the game. FaZe are making this change to be the undisputed number 1 team in the game. FaZe last year were number 2 pretty much the entire season long, so they want to be number 2 minimum, and number 1 obviously guaranteed, right? They're not going to make a change phase to try and be number 2 again. That is their goal. Now, Los Angeles Guerrillas, what is their intention? What is their ceiling with this roster, right? Because Arcitys coming in, I think it can make them a bit better, but last year they didn't even make the World Championship. There's many other good teams out there. There's many other, proven teams and players out there. Of course, OpTic have stuck, Seattle have stuck, Los Angeles Thieves have stuck. That's already a good top 4 up there with FaZe. Then you've got the Minnesota Rokkr. Then other teams getting confirmed all the time as well. LAG, people are saying they're maybe top 6, top 8, right? I think in a lot of people's expectations. So could be a rather one-sided rivalry. Then again, the last couple of seasons, LA Guerrillas versus Los Angeles Thieves. On paper, I think Thieves have often had the stronger roster than Guerrillas whenever they've played them the last couple of seasons. But Guerrillas lead the head-to-head in the LA derby 5-1 or, something along those lines. It's pretty big, the lead that Guerrillas have. So maybe a similar story with one of these weird rivalries where one team kind of unexpectedly has the favour over the other, even if they're not necessarily the better team when they play up against the regular competition. But definitely tweet your thoughts on that one in the comment section below. Excited for that rivalry certainly next season. I mean, LAG versus FaZe is always going to be a great one for so many reasons now. And we saw a while ago that actually come the Prime Classic, based on the way the seedings might work out, it's possible that they play each other at the Prime. It's far from guaranteed, but at Major 1 this season is going to be a Prime, we believe, on about the 15th or something of December. This season, the Prime Classic is going to happen again, but it's going to be an actual major event that kicks off the season. And if they do the same thing they did at the Pro-Am, with let's say they did 4 groups of 4 with 3 pro teams plus an amateur team, then based on the way the seedings happen from this season, there's a chance that LAG and FaZe get in the same group, which obviously would be a cracking matchup to start off the entire season if that was to be how it went. But just to mention this before we close out the video, I thought it was pretty funny for you guys. Another fun fact of the day that Crone points out. Crone actually, some people were saying in the replies, well, he just stole all these off Reddit, but Crone was actually the one that put this on Reddit, so I thought that was funny. But obviously, 2Real, right, a player this season, 2Pillow or whatever you want to call him. There's other nicknames, of course, which are rather more crude, but he was a rookie player this season, one of the oldest rookie players you would imagine ever, after spending a few years in the Challenger side, finds his way in at 24 into the Pro League. Now, he's actually older than many players in the league, of course, and this always is mind-blowing to me, the fact that PJHaLy is only 23. This guy has been around for so long, it's actually absurd. There's footage of PJHaLy playing a Black Ops 2 wager tournament or something, some sort of Black Ops 2 match up against Nameless and FizzUp and legends of the game at the time, and TJ was 12 or something at playing these tournaments, and you could hear his voice on the comms and stuff. That this guy's been around for so long, and even Advanced Warfare TJ, PJHaLy, he was 14, 15 or something. So just funny, really. This guy's basically competing for a decade now, and he's he's only 23, and like, yeah, he's competed on a professional level since 2015, TJ, and is still like younger than a rookie player for this season. So thought that was a rather remarkable statistic to look at. And what an image this is here with Mistrex. This might be HaLy, like this might be HaLy, I'm not exactly sure though, doing the interviews like she used to do back in the day. TJ and then even Huke on the right hand side. So it's absolutely fantastic stuff. And even Simp responded to this. I thought it was pretty funny as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button and tells the YouTube gods it's a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care. And I'll see you next time.